The race to the White House heats up with days away from the presidential polls, and we have been focusing on the swing states, which are going to essentially determine the outcome here. The swing state in focus as of now is Wisconsin, also popularly known as America's dairy land. We dive into what makes Wisconsin a crucial battleground state. Here's a report. Take a look.
Wisconsin is once again at the center of America's electoral map, as a key swing state that could ultimately decide the 2024 presidential election. With a history of switching between parties in recent years, Wisconsin has been one of the most unpredictable states in the country. After going red in 2016, it swung back to blue in 2020 with a very slim margin, making it a crucial target for both candidates in this tight race. Let's take a closer look at Wisconsin's role in this year's election. Wisconsin is home to about 5.9 million people. It carries 10 electoral votes, a state that could swing the results in a close contest. As a politically divided state, Wisconsin has become a battleground, where both parties are fighting for every last vote. In 2020, President Biden won Wisconsin by a mere 0.6%, largely thanks to strong support in cities like Milwaukee and Madison. This narrow win underlined the state's importance, as even a slight shift in voter turnout could easily change the outcome. With diverse communities and a mix of liberal and conservative strongholds, Wisconsin remains a political toss-up. The 2020 election in Wisconsin was one of the most closely watched in the country. Biden's victory here marked a return to Democratic control after the state had gone to Trump in 2016. Biden's win relied heavily on urban and suburban turnout, especially among young and diverse voters in Milwaukee. Biden proved to be the most popular among the African American, Latino, and Hispanic community. Meanwhile, rural areas and small towns continued to back Trump, highlighting a sharp urban-rural divide that has become characteristic of Wisconsin's politics. The close results demonstrates how every vote counts here, with the state's mix of liberal and conservative bases leaving no clear favorite. Now, as we approach 2024 polls, Wisconsin is once again in the spotlight. Both Democrats and Republicans are investing heavily to win, and yet again there are no clear favorites. As polls show, both Trump and Harris tied at 48%. When it comes to the critical voter concerns, this is what the numbers tell us. Once again, economy, immigration, and reproductive rights top the list of voter concerns. And when it comes to the economy and immigration, it is Donald Trump who seems to have a slight advantage. When it comes to reproductive rights, it's Harris who has bagged 54% of the voter support. Apart from these, the conflict in West Asia has emerged as a key concern for voters, and this is where Trump seems to have wider support as well. With many voters still undecided, both campaigns are ramping up efforts to connect with swing voters, who could be the ones to tip the balance. The polls reflect a small edge for the Republican nominee, but it's within the margin of error, and with high voter engagement expected, anything is possible. Will Wisconsin maintain its blue streak from 2020, or could it turn to the Republican column, as it did in 2016? This state remains one of the most crucial contests to watch out for. Bureau Report WION, World is One.
Now, to understand better the ground sentiments of Indian diaspora in the US elections, WION's Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sipal, spoke to an Indian American voter. Listen to these reactions.
Essentially, what are the big issues for Indian Americans during this year's election?
So one of the biggest thing what Indian American connects to these elections are, they feel Republicans are closer to India. As they connect this election with Modi ji from India, and they think that Republicans will be more supportive to Indian causes than what the Democrats would have done it. And as you said, we have two hearts, so many people connect to that. Now, if you talk about their personal issues, if you are a businessman, a lot of the people will connect because Trump talks about cutting taxes on business, while the Democrats talk about immigration reform. So I think that's one of the biggest bases what Indian America will vote on, apart of how close the administration would be with India.
My last question, Does Kamala Harris's Indian ancestry play an important role in terms of the Indian American voters and their vote?
I don't think so. I mean, we have a lot of Indian Americans who have got into a lot of bigger positions. I mean, it might pull some people. It might just some might feel connected to it. But there is nothing she has done which actually connects her to being in India. She might play a little bit of role, like recently, she talked about Diwali, but then the same thing, Donald Trump is talking about Bangladesh Hindus and all. So they all are. So I think one of the biggest things which have changed in this country is there is politics of appeasement now here. So every politician now knows whom to appease and what to appease, depending on that voters.
Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to WION. So there you have it, the view from the ground when it comes to the Indian American voters. Siddhant Sibal for WION in Washington.